Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Industrial Faith, and welcome to episode 10 of Factorio in 4X, or Factorio 4X, however you like it, your 15-minute Factorio fix. So, I'm running around checking throughput on stuff again. Science is happening. Go science. Just checking the throughput on my steel. Steel is very, again, threadbare. And one of the things I find out through the life of this factory is that things happen in bursts. And anytime you add a new manufacturing thing again, it sucks a bunch of resources and it stabilizes, and then everything works out. So I don't know how many what do they call accumulators to solar cells you need. I seem to recall reading that it's something to the effect of 7 solar cells per accumulator. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll do the math. The thing is, my energy needs for my factory keep growing, so I'll probably never stop building that big solar cell field. It's like a farm of joy. And megajoules, if I recall, a joule is a watt. So I believe a megajoule is 1,000 watts. I think it should be. So I'm gonna have to do some math at some point and figure out how much I need for my. Because right now my plant runs entirely off solar during the day, entirely, and my accumulators charge. And at night, the accumulators slowly drain. Because the, what do you call it? There's not enough power at night for the, just to use accumulators yet. And again, I don't know how many accumulators I need for that. So I believe I'm out of the solar equipment. Make sure the power's okay. Pollution. Look at all the nests out there. Joyous. There are trees out in the desert. They're mostly fallen over trees, but they're trees. So I have more lubricant than I know what to do with. Eventually I'll start building engines with it, but that's not here anytime soon. I do, however, I am going to build, this is a little causeway that I can put a radar on. Because I want a radar so I can start investigating the, I have no idea why I built it so big. Oh yes, originally I was going to put the train on it, then I went, no, I need a radar first. Because I wasn't ready for trains just yet. So that should look out all over there. It'll expand a lot. It's nice. Again, looking to expand the line, the bus. It sounded cool. Now, you can use regular ammunition on a rock. Armor piercing is way better. So, if I recall, I am going to start building train signals. Because I need to start getting my train empire running. And realistically, I can't imagine how many trains I'm really going to use. Now this is the train station light, if you will. In order to have a train station, you have to have one of these little guys. And here's the steel I'm going to use, because that thing requires the iron plate circuits and the steel. There we go. And luckily I didn't know how big a stack that one was, but it's only a stack of 10. which is a rational stack. A, it's a pretty big piece of equipment, and B, it's well, it's a big piece of equipment, and you're not going to be, building 150 of them. That's hideous. Your 10 is fine. I can't imagine you need to carry more than 10, but so here again I'm noticing that my iron is rather threadbare, so I divert some of the production from the steel line. Now you get kind of a cushion with steel, because once steel builds up, it'll build up 10 steel bars inside each, or 100 steel bars inside each furnace. So if you find you're not doing anything with it, you can always divert the iron somewhere else, and the steel has its own buffer. So there you go. So here I believe I start building. Oh yes, I noticed. Finally noticed that those didn't have power. Right, here's where I noticed that I still have tons and tons and tons of light oil, but I don't have enough petroleum gas. Now I think what I'll end up doing is using the light oil to make rocket fuel for the big game-ending rocket. But right now I'm still trying to produce petroleum gas, which is used to make sulfuric acid plastics. Now here's where I start laying out where I'm going to put the train station. Now I end up calling this one home several videos from now, but this is my very first. Well, this is the first track I've ever laid in Factorio, period. So I have a lot to learn. It's quite unlike the model trains I used to build as a child. All those are pretty interesting too. Used to do those with my dad, if memory serves correctly. So I don't know how to make a perfect circle with these guys. They always look a little lumpy and weird, and running track diagonally is kind of a pain in the butt. And here's me going, oh, maybe I can get here, and deciding I want that. No, and I just realized there I don't know, because the thought at the time is if I'm going to use this as an unloading station, I need sort of a second side to the loop, so there's a place for another train to wait. Don't ask me why I rebuilt that curve. I have no idea. I mean, it looks pretty much the same. And trees. Damn trees. Again, this is me cleaning out all the blue science when I'm doing the research. There's not much left to it. At some point I'm actually going to stop researching, and it's going to let the science, blue science, build up. And this is where I start running the rail to get off the island, to escape the island. Now I'm going to run 2 rails here, but for a very silly reason, I'll end up combining it into 1 rail, and that's because concrete doesn't like to build near water. I don't know why. It's just part of the concrete thing, I guess is the only way to put it. But that's what concrete does. So originally here I was going to build little stations for turrets, in case, the bad guys decided to run up my my causeway, but I don't. I just leave it there. It's like, oh, whatever. One thing to be warned about the landfill is once you lay landfill, you can't unlay it. You're done. You cannot. Well, actually, I take that back. You can build a focused. It's part of the landfill mod. You can build a focused shape charge, focus charge. It's the red thing next to the solar, the portable solar to the left. And you can then blow stuff up that way and create water again. However, I really have no need for it, so I, don't need it. But that I suppose that is a way to undo an error. But why not just leave it? So I'm going to start building concrete here, and concrete needs iron ore, water, and stone bricks. Which is interesting because I would have figured that concrete, if you know how concrete works, it cures. It's like an epoxy, so to speak. I'm probably just made a bunch of people whose job is concrete just flip their wigs. That's wrong, and that's fine. But concrete cures, and it actually gets hot and has to expand and so forth. It's some interesting stuff. So I'm going to get some iron ore here. Now, I don't know how much iron ore I'm going to be using, so I figured I'd take it off sort of the alternate supply line, because that one will build up. This, by my reckoning, shouldn't take up a lot of, Shouldn't take up a lot of iron. Up until this point, I've never built concrete. I've always heard that concrete builds slow, so I'm trying to be careful. I'm also hoping that the 4 electrical furnaces will be enough. Okay, so it's running, and it's pretty slow. So I take what concrete I have. I'm going to go lay it on the track. And wow. Look at all the concrete. So I think at this point is, do I build a second one? I think I'm looking at building a second one here. Yep. Three of them, huh? All right. I had forgotten how many I'd built. So this is me getting the water rolling. And this is me trying to figure out how am I going to get this stuff off or out of the inserters. So, and underground belts work just dandy. There we go. Remember to get my input. Everything's there. And there we go, making concrete. Just trying to run as few power poles as possible. There's I was thinking about running the belt up north, but I said, no, forget it. Again, looking for just blue signs. And there I've stopped researching because I'm done. No mas research. So here I'm looking for belt and other pieces of sundry supplies so I can go ahead and rebuild, or I can finish what I'm building here. Right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're wrapping it up. I appreciate you joining me for episode 10 of Factorio 4X. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Have a good night, and when I'm done with this, bye-bye.